Hello, everyone.
Awesome.
Hello.
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 Well, welcome to Long Island Retro Gaming's Uplink. We are here for the 25th celebration of Pokemon, and we're here to see what has made it such a universally beloved series across all generations, from old to young, as we take a look through the lens of adulthood of Pokemon. I'm one of your hosts, Casey Gibson, and joining me, my co-host of the Talk Nintendo podcast, it's the man playing the Game Boy SP right there. It's
Are we doing this?
Oh, hello. Sorry.
Technically speaking, I
raptured.
could get it, but that would take me a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
back
We're not
there.
prepared.
Hey, Casey, how's it going?
Not too bad. How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm deciding on which starter on Pokemon Sapphire.
Trico.
Trico.
If you don't pick Trico,
All right.
you're no.
It's decided.
then you get the boot off the panel here.
Yeah.
All right, Curry, what do we got here
Well,
going on today?
Okay, well, before we introduce the rest of our guests, we're just going to give a little introduction to this panel a little bit. Just like how Pixar movies have a special context unique to kids and adults separately, Pokemon is very similar. It takes on a completely different dynamic for adults. Whether we grew up playing games, whether we realize the deep gameplay mechanics, or whether it's understanding the artistry behind the creations, Pokemon holds very different and a very special meaning through the lens of adulthood.
Yes, sir. So let's, as we were saying, we got a whole bunch of guests here that everyone can see. So let's introduce them. One of the biggest Pokemon content creators who breaks down everything from the best teams to the best tactics and really shown the depth of the gameplay mechanics of the series. We have the one and only Mystic Umbreon.
How's it going, folks? My name is Mystic. I have been doing Pokemon YouTubing for almost 7 years now. My 7-year anniversary is actually on March 31st, so can't believe it's actually been that long.
Nice.
And now I do top 10s, create teams and stuff like that. I also have an anime channel and a gaming channel as well, Mystic Sage for anime and Mystic Zora for gaming, anything like Nintendo, Genshin Impact, stuff like that. But yeah, I've been doing Pokemon for a long time, and it's my favorite game of all time, and it has a lot of nostalgia, and it just holds like a lot of life and like how I grew up. So it's a crazy series, and I'm blessed to be a part of this amazing community.
Sounds like
yeah.
you're at the right panels. That's good. And next up, she's literally the Indiana Jones of finding the most sought-after Pokemon merchandise and lost relics.
Holy cow.
Indiana Jones is a lasso, right?
Yeah, you're doing it right.
And she's one of the few people to actually have the rare Pokemon bug car, the Beetle. Yes, a Pokemon car. Please welcome
Whoa.
Mew is me 700.
Hello, my name is Grace. I've been collecting Pokemon for 11 years, but I am the weird one out of the Pokemon community as I do not collect cards or play the games. I am the merch expert on the first 3 generations of Pokemon, and I'm also a historian, an archivist, and the author of the Pokemon Center New York website, which is a fan site for the defunct store that used to be in the United States. So super excited to be here and to give insight on one of the more obscure side of Pokemon that people tend to forget about. So
Perfect. Welcome. That's amazing. I love that. I've never really met someone who wasn't completely into the games, cards, anime. So that's very cool. And you have the car. She's into Pokemon cars, not cards.
yeah, I like Pokemon cards.
No D in
Exactly.
there, yes. And last but certainly not least, we have the leader in preservation of the franchise and an all-around wonderful Pokemon content creator. It's Retro Alley.
Hello. Hi. Yeah. I'm Allie. I do Twitch. I do YouTube. I've been doing this. Actually, this weekend it'll be 6 years. No, 6 years of Twitch this weekend, which is crazy. But I mainly just do content about Pokemon, obviously, video game history, preservation, anything really Nintendo or retro gaming related. You'll find that on my channel. But yeah, I'm super excited for the panel and excited to see what we all have to say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, and I guess just real quick, Perry. I'm Perry, and Casey, who's somewhere on the stream if you can see him. We host a Talk Nintendo podcast, which is off of NintendoWorldReport.com. We're a weekly podcast where we talk all things Nintendo, including Pokemon, and we love Pokemon, and so we're excited to talk with you guys all about Pokemon. And so I think we're just going to begin with all of our origin stories of Pokemon. Just what got you to the franchise. It's the most obvious, start to a discussion, I guess. But I guess why don't we start with Mystic?
Oh man. So I have like 10 hours of stuff like I want to say, but I gotta try and condense this down to like within like 5 minutes. You're giving me a gigantic task, but I'll try my best. So I got into Pokemon actually as a preschooler. And every time I would do a good deed in class, I had my preschool teacher give me a Pokemon card. It would be anything from like a Squirtle to a Oddish, Pikachu, like with all the little purple electricity and stuff in there, like one of like the first generation cards. I love that one a lot. But after that, I started getting like more interested like in the anime. And I remember like my first VHS tape was Seaside Pikachu. My mom bought me that. And I would just sit there for hours and hours on edge just watching that same exact one. And that was the only thing. And I was like the only thing I knew about Pokemon. After that, I started getting like more of the VHS tapes. I got really into like the card games. I would just like buying. My mom would like buy me card packs. My teacher would still give me card packs. And then eventually I got Pokemon Red in 1998. Then I got lost in Viridian Forest. And then my grandma got me Pokemon Silver when I was in 2000. And then that's kind of like where it kind of just like all began, where I just fell in love with the game, and that's Chikorita on TV, and I got Umbreon. My neighbor had it on her game, and I really wanted it, and that's when I just like kind of like fell in love.
There you go.
I was definitely like a Gen 2 kid.
Same.
Like that was like where like that I used to watch Kids WB every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. I couldn't miss an episode. I had karate lessons, and I was like, I don't want to miss Pokemon.
That's amazing. I remember at elementary school, we had someone from the WB, like someone from our local station, stop by. I remember actually asking the woman, "Do you know who the next Pokemon they're going to reveal is in the next thing?" Like she would know from our local TV station.
Amazing. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, and I believe it was Meryl. I believe that's what it was.
Oh.
That's one of my random.
Yeah, I remember you couldn't wake up for school at 6:37 in the morning, but if there was Pokemon on, I remember waking up before school. Like, gotta get an episode in. The power of Pokemon.
Well, how about Mew is Me 700? What's your origin story to Pokemon? Because you're, like I said, a lot different, right? I mean, because
of course,
into it through the cards.
I mean, of course, like as a kid, I collected the cards and the merch. I was like obsessed with it. Like I have home videos of me just like ranting about Pokemon. But I know when I did start initially collecting in 2010, I was into pretty much a wider range of Pokemon. I did collect the cards that I eventually kind of faded out of, but it was kind of silly how I became a serious collector. I don't know if y'all remember the Scene Girl phase of 2008 to 2010. And the cool thing, to be a Scene Girl, you were into like different franchises like My Little Pony and Invader Zim and Pokemon. And so literally my aesthetic as a Scene Girl was Pokemon, and that was my freshman year of high school. I was like 14. And by the time I was a sophomore, like I didn't dress like a Scene Girl anymore, but like my Pokemon just kept growing. And now here we are like 11 years later, and I am living in just this huge horde of Pokemon. So that's my weird origin story for you.
You'll learn Pokemon clothes as well. We can see you got the jersey.
Yeah, this is a custom made jersey with the Pokemon 98.
Awesome.
I love it.
All right,
Okay,
Retro Alley, how about you?
Yeah, so how I got into it, so basically, I think I was 6, maybe. It would have been like 1999, I guess. My brother had a Game Boy Color, and he had Pokemon Yellow, and I think sometimes he would like, from what I remember, he would like share it with me, and eventually I just kept playing it more and more, and like I was obsessed. I love Pikachu, like, and it eventually just became mine, I guess. And I was really into the cards, but that's sort of how it all started. And then when Gen 2 came out, I think for maybe it was my birthday probably, I got like the pink Game Boy Advance with Pokemon Crystal, and that was the first time like I had my own, like handheld, my own game. I didn't have to share it. And I distinctly remember when I was a kid playing it. I got like a decent chunk through the game, and then I released all my Pokemon, and I thought the game would stop me from releasing my starter, and it didn't. So I released like my Feraligatr like an idiot, and then like I got really mad at the game. But then that's how it all started. Basically, I started with Gen 1, but like you guys have all said, like Gen 2 is sort of my jam. Just because like I love Pokemon from Gen 2. It's my favorite region. But yeah, that's sort of how it happened, and then it kind of just spiraled into what you see today. So, still talking about it 20 years later. So.
Wonderful.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny because I guess it's showing my age. I'm the old guy. It seems to be the trend in my life now. I got with the original Pokemon. I remember I didn't have a Game Boy. I was never really into, or I never at least had any of the portables. Like we always had the, Super Nintendo, NES, all that stuff. So one of my friends I'd hung out with, and he had the old Game Boy Pocket, and he was playing Pokemon Blue. And he's like, "You got to check this game out." And I played it, and it was just like love at first sight. It was literally like one of those. I went home from that play date, and I was like, "Mom, I need a Game Boy and Pokemon for Christmas. Like, please, Jesus, please." And then that Christmas, like you get down to that last gift, it's like, "Oh, please be the one." Doesn't look like a Game Boy at all. My mom, she always tried to sneak it in there. So open it up. It's another box. Open that up. Game Boy Color, Game Boy Pocket, both Pokemon, because she was like, I didn't know which one to get. So I ended up with a blue and a red, and yeah, ever since that point, got into the cards, got into the anime, and then I remember even like trying to make Pokemon trades mid-class, getting in trouble, It's like,
dude, I can get into those stories all day.
It was like recess, I was like thinking about the trade, and then I guess afterwards I was like, let's do it. I gotta go to the bathroom, like trying to make the trade in mid-class.
Yeah, dude.
Pokemon was life.
Oh my
back
god.
then.
100% can relate.
You didn't finish the story though, Casey. He looked at both red and blue, and he goes, "Where's yellow?
Yeah.
Where's yellow?"
That's what I had. Yellow.
Nope, it was
Yeah.
yellow
Honey,
was
I
out.
didn't know. It's not even out yet. I don't care. Where
Dang
is
it, Mom! Yeah, slap
Yeah.
it on the table. Like, ugh.
No, it's funny because I was the youngest of four boys, and so my oldest brother, he had my introduction was literally Pokemon Red on a Super Nintendo, the Super Game Boy on a Super Nintendo, playing on in the room on the TV, and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then I played that thing to death afterwards, and yeah, that's, I mean, on an old Game Boy, sitting in the room. I remember going on trips and Game Boy, no light, and like only playing when like the street, like when the street lights passed by. Like, oh, okay, so that was the good old days. I can't
Good old
believe
days
that we have
before
no
backlights
light.
existed.
Yeah,
it's
oh my God.
unbelievable.
Still warm light.
And I remember the SP came out. It's like, I can see the
That
game.
was a godsend.
Game
SP
changer.
is so good, and then it had like the light. It's like
yeah.
that light. No more warm light. Come on, I know I'm not the only one who went through that phase.
Oh,
Yeah.
Love my warm light.
Yeah.
It changed color.
I would.
Oh my
That's
God.
cool. I'm jealous of that.
Yeah.
I would just have a flashlight like in my mouth.
Oh my God.
First world problems.
Yeah.
That's one way to play it, Perry.
And then the battery's going out like on both on the black flashlight's getting dim. I can't see.
Oh
But,
my God.
Anyway, so very good. I think that's I love hearing all those stories because I think we can all relate to almost every one of those. That's
Oh, yes.
very cool. So Case, I don't know what we want to do to get into. I mean, we have a whole slew of things we can talk about. One is the actual games themselves, right? We'll definitely get into more other aspects, but obviously, Pokemon is one of the best, in my humble opinion, JRPGs, just because of how accessible it is, how it literally introduced tons of new people to the idea of a JRPG, and all of that. So I guess Mystic, you'd probably be a good guy to talk about this, and because you have a big audience for this exact thing. About the strategy in all the games.
So, in terms of just like playing Pokemon in general, you can really, really play Pokemon in any kind of fashion. There are challenge YouTubers that literally beat the game just using like a single weak Pokemon, for example, like a Mankey or like a Pichu. I've seen it done. There are just tons of guys that can just do that. So you can play Pokemon in any kind of fashion you want. However, the traditional way to play Pokemon is when you get a team of 6. Team of 6 Pokemon you want to use for the game, you level them up. Certain kinds of orders, it's like, certain kinds of typings. I personally like to use Fire, Water, Grass cores. That's kind of like how I roll when it comes to a lot of like my best teams. And then like I'll have like a dedicated flyer. I'll have a Pokemon that has access to a lot of coverage. But I mean, you can honestly just play in any kind of way you want. I just like to make guides in the sense of the traditional way of how people usually play it. Because I mean, I have a bunch of people that are asking me like, what kind of team would you use here? Like, can you rate my team for me? That's usually like the traditional way I feel how to play. But Pokemon can be molded into just so many different categories. Like you can do a water run, a fire run, baby Pokemon run. You can do anything you want and you can beat the game. It does not it's a big giant piece of moldable clay that you can just play in anything you want. Legendaries, I don't even know. I can talk about this for hours.
It's funny because you mentioned like obviously I thought I'm gonna obviously get as many Pokemon as I can, get them as strong as I can, as diverse as I can, go on. I remember it was in probably high school, on the DS, one of the DS games, playing with a friend of mine, and he comes and he has his one Pokemon that's leveled up super high. I was like, oh, I've never even thought about that, and like the idea, and then of course I beat him because he just, it was easy. I mean, like he thought he was all that, like. And
I was one of those guys that had like a level 100 Typhlosion, and I thought I was like the cool kid on the block. I'd be like, yeah, well, I love mine 100, and then my friend had 5 100s, stop me down.
Oh my god.
Totally.
That reminds me, my buddy used to work at a games, or I guess it was EB Games back in the day when Diamond came out, and he got it for us the night early. So I got a night early, and we went into New York City for the launch event, and like I had a level like 30, so I was like, you should have seen me strutting down the New York street. Like that's right, look at my level 30. He wants to duel me, But yeah,
yep. And then he got mugged by a bunch of Pokemon.
Yeah, give me that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. No, that didn't happen. But that is amazing. Dude, I can't even imagine. Like that's the stuff I dream of as a kid. Like imagine getting the game early.
Yeah. I mean, I was probably like 16 years old, so maybe not necessarily a kid, but yeah, I remember feeling way too cool at the moment for what it was,
Yeah.
Well,
but yeah.
The beautiful part of Pokemon, I mean, the reason why it is what it is literally a household name. Like I don't think there's anyone in the world. I mean, well, there's probably people, but they don't know. I haven't heard of Pokemon. Even like the oldest of old, they know. Well, they probably call it. I don't know if they have a different name. Like Pokemon. Yeah, Pokemon. There you go. Whatever.
Yeah, that's what my aunts call it. Like Pokemon. Yeah,
obviously.
Pokemans.
My mom calls it Pikachu.
Yeah. It's like, you still doing the Pokemon YouTubing? And I'm like, oh no.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going down this road again, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like looking at the merchandising of it, and obviously it had the big 3 hits for me. Obviously, it has the game, which was awesome. Trading cards, love that, and the show. I mean, and that was the big 3, right? But then there's
the pillars.
You just put it on. As Mew as Me can show you that you can kind of let's see, what is there, a 2,500 different characters and there's so many, so there's just so many ways that everyone can attach to one thing. Your favorite, what's your favorite? I mean, the conversations that spark.
It's endless.
Favorite Pokemon. Exactly.
Favorite Pokemon, favorite type, favorite combination of moves, stuff like that.
Game. Yeah, favorite.
Yeah.
Favorite
favorite
season,
gen.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, I guess I want to get into the merchandising stuff. Especially and like I guess with Mew as Me, like what's obviously we know your big treasure, but what's some of the merch items you think are most interesting that you have?
I love the vintage food products because it is like not something people initially thought would be collectible. I mean, you got to think like. These boxes were printed in the millions across the United States for these products, but now they're like stupid hard to find because after you eat something, you throw away the box when you're done with it. There's only a very select few people that actually fought to keep these things. So it is
Right.
just an absolute blast to try to hunt down these boxes of
fascinating.
products from 20 years ago.
Wish I would have kept mine as a kid, man. I regret it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember eating the waffles as a kid. I got the Eggo waffles down there. I remember eating those as a kid, but of course, I didn't keep the box. My mom didn't keep the box. And
Yeah.
there's some to this day that I still have not even seen a picture of. Heinz did a line of Pokemon ketchup that I've never even seen a photo of. So I just get so much joy out of trying to track that type of stuff down because Pokemon was just so big on everything, and I love it so much.
Well, I was gonna say with a lot of that kind of merch, like you're saying, that sort of people don't really think about, don't preserve, don't think like, hey, this might be valuable. Where do you go about finding that? Is it going on eBay? Is it going
This
on
is
like Craigslist?
6 years of more like 7 or 8 years of eBay and online hunting. And people commonly ask me, they're like, how have you accumulated so many products like this? Because I honestly probably have the biggest collection of vintage products in the whole community. And it's simply because I didn't have any competition for these items years ago. But the past year, for whatever reason, Pokemon has exploded. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic or what, but the demand for these types of items and the nostalgia behind it is just exploded. And now it's just impossible to find. Empty boxes are selling for hundreds of dollars on eBay now. It's just mind-blowing. And I'm thankful I started collecting them when I did because I could not afford them now. A Wonder Ball display just sold for a final bid of over $500 a few months ago for an empty box. Absolutely mind-blowing.
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Wow.
It's so crazy,
So,
but I love it.
Is there an official Pokemon museum somewhere? There has to be, right?
Not that I know of. Everyone's like, girl,
We're
you need
looking
to
at it
start
right
one.
now, I think.
maybe like
Yeah,
Game
I'm looking
Freak.
right at it.
Yeah.
I would
maybe
love to
I
start
feel like-
one.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it
that would
sounds
be
like you have your future laid out for you right there. You got to, because who wouldn't want to go to the official Pokemon museum? With
Yeah,
We
I mean, it could.
Yeah.
I'm not far from DC. I feel like it would be successful, right outside of Washington DC or just some big
Yeah.
city. I would totally be down.
right? Hey,
Yeah.
well, you should do it. That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
think
I've been
it's
wanting
so-
to do
I mean-
another Pokemon convention and have all the Pikachu cars reunite one day.
Oh, that would be
Oh,
so
that'd be
cool.
That's ultimate goals. But
And then you can key all the other ones, so you're the
oh
only
my
one.
god,
Oh God.
no!
Yeah, the mint one. I guess we could talk a little bit about that car. How did that? I mean, obviously, I would imagine anyone who collects Pokemon merch, that would be the holy grail, right? There's not many of them. They're
There's
super
10.
expensive. They're amazing, right? How did you?
Oh, so
I
cool.
should say, was it something you saw it for sale and you were like, I gotta get this, or was it something you had decided, I'm gonna go get it and hunt it down?
It was that. I had known the car had been in the state for years. But I had the VIN number and I had the license plate, but obviously you can't just call up DMV and be like, hey, who owns this car? They're just not gonna give you that information. So I can harass them to sell me the car. But luckily I'm literally just scrolling through Facebook one night and the owner posted it for sale on a collecting group. And I'm like, oh my me. And so I messaged him. He was really reluctant to sell it because he was really attached to it. But we made a deal, and then a few weeks later, I'm going to pick it up, but it was not in good condition at all when I picked it up. So I've been restoring it over the past 2 years that I've owned it, and it has just been such an honor to restore such a piece of Nintendo and Pokemon
That's awesome.
history. So
Do you
Hey.
drive it ever?
I don't, unless I'm taking it somewhere, or I'll do a quick drive to get the fluids moving. But it is a collector's car, so it does have collector's insurance on it, and so they limit the number of miles I can put on it in a year. And honestly, driving a new Beetle is frightening. It's so small, and
I
it's
can
just
imagine.
scary to drive. I got my
Yeah.
big
It's
CRV
like
SUV that I drive as a daily. So.
Amazing. Well, we have a newcomer into the panel here.
Hello.
And
Challenge
I'm going to introduce him
arrived.
real quick so that he doesn't have to sit around awkwardly wondering what the heck's going on. What's a Pokemon? What the heck? We have the creative producer of the global world tour that brought the music of Pokemon into some of the most distinguished concert halls in the world, and really showed the incredible music pageantry of the series. We have Jaron Moore. Hello.
Hey guys, Thanks.
Oh,
Sorry
volume's
for
on.
being a
Hey.
little late.
Oh no,
Oh, yeah,
that's
no
okay.
problem.
Better late than never, as they say. And I think we got Mystic coming back in right now. I think
I
he
have
can get there.
no idea what happened. My
We got the
internet
whole
is
crew.
wilding today.
Hi.
I think he didn't want to talk until Jaren came in. I think that's what happened. He's like, you know what? I'm not doing this panel until Jaren.
Yeah,
came in.
he was
just
boycotting
came in.
us until.
Coincidence? So, Jaren and Mystic, we were talking about, we were really getting into the Pokemon car and just Pokemon merchandise in general, just to fill you guys in. But honestly, I'd love to get, I mean, obviously, so Jaren, can you give us a little history about your introduction to Pokemon and kind of what you've been doing?
So, you know, I did not, so I turned 40 in May. So by the time Pokemon came out, I was in high school, and I had already put down my Game Boy, and had already moved on to, like, I had my N64, and so I played Pokemon Snap, but I had you know, I had not really gotten into Pokemon until my nieces and nephews really dove into it, and that's when I really began to, you know, develop an affinity for Pokemon. I had freshly come off of producing a series of concerts based on The Legend of Zelda, and we were looking for a new project. And something that is kind of a cornerstone of how I approach projects is that I never want to do something unless I can do it genuinely and authentically, and present it to fans as an enriching experience. But Pokemon really resonated for me as a franchise that was very rich and had a lot of opportunity to explore its stories and its music. And so that kind of became something that I wanted to focus on. And so I had to do a lot of homework to prepare for that. You know, I had my niece and nephew, you know, really educate me. Fortunately, there's a lot of crossover between the Zelda fan base and the Pokemon fan base. So had a lot of access to people just willing to ingratiate me with material and kind of indoctrinate me into the world of Pokemon. And so we pitched an idea to we kind of workshopped it over at Nintendo with Nintendo's Pokemon team. And really kind of put the concept through its paces, and then we took that and pitched it to the Pokemon Company, and they really enjoyed our pitch. They thought that there was a lot of potential there, and so we continued to workshop it with them, and we eventually arrived at Pokemon Symphonic Evolutions, and it was really an amazing collaboration with Junichi Matsuda, who to this day has become just a very dear friend. And so getting to collaborate with him and bring you know, his music to life, and kind of his contributions and the creativity and the worlds that Game Freak have developed into a live performance space where fans could, you know, really celebrate, gather and celebrate and catch Pokemon together and trade and competitions, and, you know, really create a living, you know, kind of a living community that would move around, that was not exclusive to just Worlds. That was just a really treasured experience for me.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'd mentioned, right, people were quick and happy to tell you all about Pokemon, you know, so to show you how passionate the fans are. But once you actually got in those audience, see the people coming in to see the show, like, did that really solidify, like, wow, like, these people love Pokemon, you know, like, did it take you back, or were you sort of like...
Oh, no, absolutely. You know, so many moments of joy where, like I said, we had to really do our homework. We wanted to capture the humor that has kind of been proliferated through meme culture. All the funny little things that Game Freak puts in their games. We wanted to make, have little nods to those moments. And of course at the end, one of our encores was a very epic cinematic version of Gotta Catch 'Em All, which you guys can look up on YouTube, and it's pretty awesome. I'm very proud of what we did there. And I kid you not, every single concert that we would perform that on, sometimes we would have a singer that we'd bring along with us, and she would sing the song with the orchestra. Other times we wouldn't have the singer, and holy crap, like no matter whether the singer was there or not, the audience would sing, and it was like having a 2,000-piece choir. And
That's incredible.
you have never felt so much love and excitement, and just joy pour from an audience, really kind of, gathering around and sharing this experience with each other. It was, there were many times where it just brought tears to my eyes, and it was super great. And I loved kind of peeking around the curtain and just seeing all the children and the teenagers and the people in their mid-20s and in their early 30s, just all kind of doing this thing together. And to me, that's like, for me, that is what Pokemon sort of symbolizes. And again, like, I think at the core is sort of what what hit me kind of in my heart with doing the Zelda stuff too, was just the community and how strong it is, and just how it brings a lot of people together, and allows people to develop new friendships. And entire people's lives, the course of their lives get directed by their passion for this thing. And I've been influenced by it in ways that I didn't expect. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, this sort of more so just open for everyone. Like, what do you guys think, like, makes the music resonate so much with the fans? Is it purely nostalgic like feels from the originals? Is it the catchiness? Like the sort of open question to anyone, because obviously the music, there's so many iconic tunes and even just sort of jingle jangles, right? Lazy, that even people who haven't played in years will hear it and know immediately that's Pokemon.
I definitely will say I'm one of those people that have looked up like the concert videos on YouTube at like 2 a.m. and just start like crying. That is totally me. But in terms of your question, I think as somebody that's also like a musician but also a giant nerd, or a nerd of both of those things, I think if we're at least talking like, let's say the most iconic stuff, which, I usually say it's like Gen 1, Gen 2-ish era, like, it's just, even just speaking from like, the Game Boy itself, like the music is just so, I feel like it's really great in its simplicity, I guess, because that's where, like, from what it originated on, like the Game Boy and stuff, like, so like when you hear that, whether it's like a completely, orchestrated version or a remix or the original song, it takes you back to that time, or whether it's Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, etc. When you hear that, that's why you catch me at like 12 a.m. crying to Pokemon music on YouTube. Like, it just takes back that time, like multiple times. So I think that's what it is, I guess, like, in my opinion anyway. But I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, just
takes you back to
melodies,
pre-pandemic times.
Yeah, oh man, yeah, ain't that the truth? Wow, that just hit. That just hit. Wow.
Look at us, right?
Well, I guess, yeah, I know, speaking about just the series in general, right? Like the panelists, sort of through the lens of adulthood, Pokemon, taking a look at it. I know we all sort of gave our intros and how we got into the series. For me, it was one like I was 98. I was like 9 years old or something. So it's like I was into it. I was into the early ones. Then I sort of lulled a little bit, right? Then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm in middle school, high school now. This is childish. And then all of a sudden, like a couple years into high school, you're like, actually, this is pretty cool still. Like, I like it, and like, have you guys had sort of like lulls, in your fandom and you came back, or, like I said, for me, it was like I dropped a little bit and came back, and especially with the release of Let's Go, right? Like that was one when I picked it up, I literally played like 8 hours the first day, and I was like, my goodness, like this is nostalgic overload, but like in the best kind of way.
Yeah.
I just a quick little thing here. I remember literally almost the same thing in high school, and I had really fallen off just of video games, just got really into music and was doing that. And anyway, obviously came back, video games, and I really got back into Pokemon. And I remember I was talking with my friend, and we had never talked about it before, but I was like, yeah, man, Pokemon is so awesome. And he was like, and I remember him looking at me like,
nerd.
Well, he was like nerd, and I was like, no, I'm serious. And he goes, oh, are you? He goes, are you serious? And he goes, and I go, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I think so too. I thought you were joking. And I'm like,
oh, dang, he tried to throw you under the bus, bro.
No, it's just really like he was afraid to admit that he liked it. This is in sophomore year of high school or something like that, But
he was
really
probably
funny.
thinking, this is a trap.
Yeah,
this
exactly,
is a trap.
Exactly. Like he thought.
Yeah.
So,
I feel that.
absolutely.
I feel that.
I feel it a lot, honestly. I went through an Xbox phase when I was in high school. I went through the con.
Oh, he's one of those guys.
Yeah. I was playing Halo, dude. And oh man, good times. I had that phase for about 4 years, and then Black 2 and White 2 hit, and I'm like, these are pretty good. Let's see what that. And I liked it. Now they're in like my top 3 favorite Pokemon games of all time. So that brought me kind of like back to it. I was never disinterested, but I was just more into like that the shooter phase and stuff like that during that time. I told my friends on Xbox about it. They're like, wait, that's Pokemon. Like I like that stuff too. Yeah. And then like we were sitting in Xbox Live parties doing like doing Wi-Fi battles. I got like my entire friends like into it. Yeah, it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I kind of similar situation, but like I feel like it was like at least for like my age bracket, like it was cool in elementary school, then it wasn't cool in middle school, and wasn't cool in high school. And then I remember one day during like my percussion ensemble class, like very 8 a.m. first class of the day, my friend brings in his freaking Game Boy Color and Pokemon Yellow, and then Pokemon was cool because you were playing the old ones, and like through middle school and high school, Pokemon was sort of like my dark secret that I still liked it, because I was a huge nerd. But the only time I never really fell out of it, but just like, life happened in like high school. Like I was applying to colleges, and like since I was doing music stuff, I was like preparing for auditions. So like that was the only time where I kind of maybe wasn't playing it as much or playing it right when it came out. But yes, like, end of Gen 4 into Gen 5 is just when I kind of got busy with life. But then, once Gen 6 came out, that's when I really hardcore got back into it, and I had the time for it because I was already like in college. But yeah, I definitely feel that, where it's like, everybody thinks it's not cool, but then everybody's still sort of into it, but acts like they're not. I don't know. It's weird.
I have such
I
the
think that's
opposite
phase.
story. Like I loved it as a kid, and then I like lulled out just like, late elementary school, middle school, but like high school hit. I'm like embracing my love for Pokemon. I'm like carrying Pokemon plush down the hallway and wearing all Pokemon stuff. Like I just like had this attitude in high school where I was just like, I do not care what other people think.
Good.
I'm gonna love what I love. And y'all should have seen my college dorm. Like it was just like I had the Pokemon bedspread and like plushies all over my dorm. And my roommate just thought I was like crazy. Like I had no friends in college. Like I was in my dorm. Everyone's out partying, drinking. And I'm in my dorm just like doing Pokemon stuff and fasting and being the student I am. Like I did Pokemon in college. I didn't drink and do parties. I did Pokemon. Like
choice right there. There you go.
I like how your Pokemon fandom has like pushed you into like the Pokemon car. Now you're like into cars now. You're working on your car.
I liked cars before I even bought the car. Like everyone's like, you're not like
really?
cars. Like, yeah, oh yeah, I love cars.
I I would like to say that you are now the third person I have met to own a Pokemon Beetle.
Yes,
Oh,
did you
man.
meet
That's
Rachel?
awesome.
It's the synthetic
I know
evolution.
I know Rachel. I know
Pika Belchu.
Yeah, Belchu. Yeah.
hmm
So
That's
That's
funny.
Yeah.
7 more to go,
Think
man.
it's
You gotta
exciting.
meet 7 more people.
well, here's the thing. One of my I call her my Nintendo mom. Kim over at Nintendo. She's she works on the Pokemon team, and she was there when all those Beetles were commissioned.
Oh, that's
when
amazing.
when they were originally commissioned, and part of that. So she kind of got to see that fleet sort of.
I would love to interview her one day. Like, I've been trying to contact someone with Nintendo. Like, I talked to the on Facebook the former president of Nintendo, and she of course remembered it and everything. But that was really she didn't really talk much more than that. But I just wanted to show her. I was like, please embrace my Beetle that I have saved.
How many of those cars are in existence?
So Nintendo initially made 10.
Wow.
And then it was thought that they made a few more after they like gave some away in contests, but there's really no solid
I knew
answer.
they existed. I just didn't know like how many like there actually were. That's
Oh yeah,
wild.
it's less than
Yeah.
20. We know that, but at today there's only like 10 still around, and then there's a bunch just that have been lost.
Talk
to
about
time.
IRL shiny Pokemon. Jeez.
Yeah. But I have a whole video on my YouTube with the whole history. Look me up, Mew is Me 700.
Totally.
History of Poke Patrol.
That's
It's a very,
wild.
very interesting marketing campaign. Like, I can't even believe Nintendo shelled out that much money to literally buy 10 brand new cars, turn them
That
into
is
CPUs, and then
insane.
travel the nation. Yeah, and you'd open the hatch, and they would have a gaming system in the back, so you could test out all the Pokemon games.
That's
I
so
love
cool.
That is
My car
so
doesn't have
cool.
it anymore, unfortunately. I wanted to maybe like do a new one with Nintendo Switch eventually. Originally,
Oh,
I had
that
it.
is so cool.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
I wish I had a photo to show printed, but you can look it up. It's all on my YouTube.
Gotcha.
video.
I have one question for you, Muse Me, which is how many miles do you have to drive it before it turns into a Raichu car?
Right?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I've heard the Raichu cars are way better. They get better gas mileage.
Insurance won't let that happen.
That's true. Where are you going to get the Thunderstone from? That's the question. Where are you going to put the Thunderstone? You can put it in the exhaust. You can put it in the glove box. You know,
You just run it over.
you just run over. So you're trying to kill Raichu now. Is that what's going on?
I think a Firestone. Isn't there a Firestone? Isn't that a tire company? I'm trying to.
Yeah, actually.
Oh god,
You turn it into Flareon car or something.
we got to get Firestone commission them out. But yeah, so Mew is Me is obviously really into collecting, right? Like the merch and stuff. Retro, I know, Allie, you said you were, a historian. You're trying to preserve stuff. You're more on the game side of things, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
are you just about collecting every game you could get, essentially?
Well, I mean, you can kind of see them behind me, but like in terms of just like, I'm a video game collector, but mainly focused on Pokemon just because like I like Pokemon. It's my favorite franchise. And also too, I'm into like game preservation sort of stuff, obviously, specifically with Pokemon, primarily because, that's what I'm mainly into. And I'm always like, the person with like my other friends that are in that scene, if they like have a question about Pokemon games, they'll come to me. Yeah, they'll be like, yeah, you know more than me, so like help me. Or like answer this question, or like I'll get messages. I'm sure maybe some of you guys get this if somebody messages you like some like random game or random piece of merch or something. They'll be like, hey, like what is this?
All the
Help
time.
me. I need help. I knew you would. But so yeah, I'm mainly focused on like more so the games. I mean, I do collect the merch, mainly Raichu, as you can tell. I love Raichu. But yeah, mainly into like the game preservation, collecting, just because I've always been interested in that kind of stuff. It sort of started around in like middle school where like Game Boy and Game Boy Advance were kind of going off to the wayside, and the DS and the Wii were really, really popular. And you go to GameStop and get Game Boy games for like $5. And that's what I was like, oh, well, like I still like playing these old games. Like I'm gonna go to GameStop and buy up $5 Game Boy games and
Mhm.
keep playing them. And that's when I got into like Pokemon glitches, like in Gen 1. You guys know Gen 1's super buggy. Like I was into that, and then that snowballed into getting into like, you know, retro gaming at that time and like gaming history, just because, you know, I think it's really fascinating history behind stuff that we play. And again, too, going with like the merch and like marketing for things, you know, is super fascinating to me just to see how all of that worked. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. And then now I'm here still, you know, talking about Pokemon, still playing Pokemon, making videos about it. Like it's kind of wild that we kind of mentioned it before, but I think for all of us, it's wild how like one thing has sort of shaped your like trajectory, I guess, you know.
Right.
So it's kind of mind-boggling in that sense if you really sit down and think about it.
It is, well, and honestly, and this might cause a stir of emotions that we might not be ready for. But I do find it interesting, like where you think Pokemon has gone, like as a game franchise right now. What I mean, as you know, prolific Pokemon fans, what do you think of where Pokemon's at now compared to before? I'll say that obviously I prefer the older ones. I'm not
Same
really
here.
happy with the new directions.
I am as well.
I like the amount. I like the pixel games because first of all, I like the style better. I like that it gives room for your imagination to grow. Where it's at now, it's too specific. It's in a direction that obviously I think is tilted more towards kids. Blah blah blah. But I'd like to know. I guess Mystic, like where do you think? What do you think of Pokemon now?
I've always been to Pokemon ever since I was a kid. I'm a diehard fan. I'm gonna play whatever Pokemon, whatever main series Pokemon game comes out. Although one thing I will admit that I'm excited about this year is Pokemon Snap. I never got to play that. I'm really excited for when it comes out on April 30th. I'm stoked.
No!
Stoked. And Nintendo 64. I only had a Game Boy Color, a Game Boy Advance, an SP, and a GameCube. I never had a Nintendo 64. My mom and dad never got me one for whatever reason. But I'm excited, to see what that's like. I mean, I played Pokemon Channel, and then I also like the Mr. Dungeon games. So, yeah, there you go. Pokemon Channel is the best spin-off game by far. But as far as Pokemon goes nowadays, I liked Sword and Shield, but that was just it. Like, I just liked it because it was Pokemon. Couple things that they can definitely do better. Not saying it's, they're bad games. I give them maybe like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. I enjoyed them because they're Pokemon, but that's pretty much like it. The DLCs, Crown Tundra was fun. I like the aspect, of being able to, to bring in viewers and stuff, for, Dynamax Adventures. I know a couple, people that do that. It's just really not my cup of tea. Sword and Shield, I'm kind of like, I'm ready for like, something new. Generation 7, I really enjoyed that. Pokemon Sun and Moon had great games. X and Y. Okay, I guess. But the last real Pokemon game, like I really loved was like Pokemon Black and White too. It's just, I really just can't explain it. It's just like the 2D games, I felt like just because like that's how I was like raised on it. You see it go to 3D, what was kind of weird, but I mean, it's still Pokemon. I like it, but it just the 2D games and just like the storytelling, the routes, the art, I can't really just explain it's just I just 2D Pokemon games to me are just better. It's
gotten easier, right? I mean, they made it,
it almost feels like they got a little complacent, right? Where it's like this is the formula, we sort of stick to it. We had a few new things here but don't really move the needle. You know what I mean? They don't want to scare away the people who love Pokemon and what it is. So I feel like they're in that sort of weird position where it's like, do we just keep on sort of giving them more of the same with little things that sort of come and go, or do we give it a big shakeup, And I would personally love to see the big shakeup. Like I said, I played Sword and Shield and I enjoyed it. It was okay, But yeah, I mean, and it might be because nostalgia, but that's why when they Let's Go Pikachu came out, I was like, whoa, like this is crazy.
Let's Go.
I played it forever.
Let's Go's actually fun.
Yeah, even though it was weird, I did catch Pokemon, it's sort of strange, but it still had so much pull on me, right, from the nostalgia. Oh, yeah. So I feel like they're afraid to really change it up. But yeah, I would love to see them just really just like, whoa, like where the heck did this Pokemon game come from?
Yeah, it's definitely kind of going off of what Mystic said. I've said this a lot on my stream, but I feel like, Gen 5, like Black and White 2, I thought were amazing. They're really ambitious.
Mhm.
And like by that point, they knew what they were doing with the 2DS. They knew what they were doing with the DS because, those were like the final games on DS for the series. So I kind of consider that like sort of the peak for me. And like I enjoyed Gen 6. Gen 7 wasn't my favorite. And Sword and Shield was fun, and like Let's Go was fun. Were they like epic amazing? No, but like they're still fun games. I enjoyed the, even though I have my criticisms, but I think it's sort of, the balance, kind of like you guys have said, the balance of like, trying to bring in new people and like new kids into it, just like us back in the day, and that shift was like very apparent, I think, with X and Y. But a balance of like bringing in new blood to keep it going, but then also still trying to have that like brand recognition with like maybe the general public. And then the third part, I guess, would be like keeping the attention of the people that have always been into it, or maybe, I've seen some people that are a little bit older than me that have kids now, and, they played Let's Go with their kids, and it's sort of like starts the
Passing
cycle.
the baton, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy to think about. But yeah, so I agree with you guys. Like, I think it would be nice to see them shake it up. Do I think they will? No. But regardless, if they put out a Pokemon game, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna enjoy it. Like,
Yeah.
That's the problem.
This is how it is. No.
I'm guilty as charged.
It's like I'm stuck here. You know what? I ain't going anywhere. I'll play whatever you got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
is there anything? I know you said you don't really like the game. Do you play them at all, or you not even touch them, or?
I've been actually playing. I got a Switch for Christmas. Like, I didn't even have a Switch up until like 2 months ago.
Okay, cool.
And I've been playing the Mystery Dungeon remake. That was like one of the few games that I did enjoy growing up. Was the Mystery Dungeon game. Me and my fiance have been like putting mega hours into playing that game. But other than that, I felt like just the mainline games were really repetitive for me. I don't know. I got bored too quick. And when I was a kid, like, I didn't even understand like how the game worked. Like, I remember having Pokemon Yellow, and I could not for the life of me like beat the first gym with Brock on his rock types, and I had this Pikachu that was totally useless against rock types. I'm like, I don't get how this game works. Like,
he won't stop following me.
Like, I'm a total potato when it actually comes to fighting.
Oh my God.
Totally, yeah.
Well, do you play any of the games at all? I mean, like, do you dip your toes in there? Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh.
No.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Yeah, he's muted, yeah. Okay.
Yep, you might be muted.
I don't know if he's muted.
I can't read lips very well. I think he said, I love Pokemon. It's actually really great.
Pokemon Friday. Yeah, I don't know if it's just. I remember when you first started, Jaren. It took a while for it to catch up.
Yeah, I was thinking it was maybe lagging up a little bit, but yeah, I mean, we're getting a little close towards the end here. Hopefully, is he?
Oh.
No, I don't hear it.
On the fly troubleshooting. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a fun game. We'll just try and anticipate what he's trying to say here.
He's like, I got it.
Yeah, he's gonna jump back in, but yeah, I mean, it is crazy to think, right? Like you said, 20 years, however many years it's been since everyone's picked it up. We're still talking and playing it today, and I think it's interesting, right? As a kid, obviously, we knew it was a phenomenon. It blew up. All of our friends are playing Pokemon. Everyone's playing Pokemon, right? But like to think it would have this kind of longevity, I don't think. I mean, as a little kid, right? We're not thinking about the future like that anyway. But it's interesting to look back as it was now and just see really how like the game, the anime, the cards, how it all just like exponential, right? It was like the snowball down the mountain, and it was just like unbelievable.
It's interesting watching like old newscasts when Pokemon was like really hyped back in like 1999. Everyone's like, "Is this just another fad? Like, are these cards going to be?"
Oh my God, yeah.
I love watching those. Like, no one had any idea that literally 25 years later we would still be just like as obsessed as we are now. Like, it's pretty amazing that it didn't die.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Jaren, are you back?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
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 I guess the question was, do you still play, or do you play at all, or?
Yeah, so my boyfriend is actually a massive Pokemon fan. He plays Pokemon Go pretty much everywhere.
Nice.
His actual apartment on campus where he's in college is a Pokestop. So that's a big
He's cleaning up.
Yeah, absolutely. But actually, so I got into. So I essentially had to play through with a couple buddies of mine, because so for Zelda, Nintendo actually captured all our footage with very specific direction from me, and then I would edit that all together. And for that show, for Pokemon, TPCI required us to capture the footage. So they offloaded that onto us, and that was challenging, but we got it done. I had to recruit a couple Pokemon pros, but as a result, I basically had to sort of oversee like playing through all the games from beginning to end, and then we would submit footage for review, and TPCI would be like this Pokemon shouldn't be at that level to fight this gym leader. You need to redo this or put together a different team. And it was
That's
crazy.
wild.
Holy crap.
So I mean, they definitely get into the gears. And I mean, you have to admire it because they're there to protect the brand, and they love it, and they have their eyes on every little detail. So, but I mean, when you're on a deadline and you're on a time crunch and you need to like put together your team and like blaze through these games as quickly as possible, sometimes you just don't have time. It's challenging. So that's how I got to experience everything up through.
That's a unique experience.
They provided footage for X and Y, and that's where the show we include everything through X and Y. I played some Sun and Moon on my own. That was a tough one for me to get through, for whatever reason.
Not for everybody.
And and so after that, Pokemon Sword and Shield was actually the game that my boyfriend and I like played together, and that was actually a really special experience for me. I know that like Sword and Shield is not there's a lot of mixed opinions out there, but I had a great time with it, and it really resonated with me as almost like, I mean, sure, I played through Red and Blue, and I've played through Gold and Silver. That's about kind of where my initial like Pokemon experience stopped from way back in the day. But as kind of like coming back into the franchise, like it was a very kind of gratifying experience, and I felt like there was a lot to enjoy there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think, and we're getting towards the end of our panel here, so I got one more question for everyone before we wrap it up. And just to sort of touch on it, you said, right, Sun and Moon, not necessarily, the most well-received, but it was something special because you and your boyfriend got to play it together, right? And I think that's
Sword
a lot
and
of
Shield.
games.
Sword and
Sword and Shield, excuse me.
And Shield, yeah.
A lot of games, right, are about your experience, not necessarily even within it solely, but out, the external factors as well. So like for me, back, I think why Red and Blue have such a strong affinity is like, I was in elementary school that we would go to the recess and we would talk about Pokemon. We'd play Pokemon. We'd be trading the games, and just the whole, like, now we have the internet, right? Where like you could still get groups of people, the community come together. But, before that, when it was just at school, but everyone was playing it, it was something that, I look back on, and, again, I was so young and not really appreciating things for what they were, but like looking back at it now, that's sort of the thing. I'm like, man, I wish I could experience that again, having all the people around me playing one game, talking about one game, everyone being invested so much. So I'm just sort of, what do you guys looking back at your whole fandom of Pokemon? What's that one thing maybe you wish you could experience again, or something that, like, what's the one thing that you hold dearest to your heart when you look back at the Pokemon franchise as a whole? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we want to kick it off with Mew and we can go around and yeah.
I mean, like, when Pokemon was like launched, it was such a huge production, and I really wish as a kid, like, I was a bigger part of that. Like, I definitely had Pokemon stuff and was into it as a kid, but I mean, I didn't see any of the Pikachu Beetles on tour. I didn't go to any of the mall events they did, or any tournaments or anything like that. Like, I wish I could go back and, experience that and how big it was versus just like me being in my house with my little Pokemon toys and see it actually like happen up in public. Like, I didn't get to experience that. So I think that would be what I would pick.
Allie?
I guess, yeah. Kind of going off of what you said about like everybody playing, the one game and experiencing it together. Like, as cool as it would be, I'd love to like go back and like re-experience, the original like Gen 1, Gen 2. I mean, I was there technically, but I was like a little kid. I think for me, the sort of like second coming of that, I guess I would say, was when X and Y came out, because that was kind of, at least for me, that was sort of like a important or special time, because in like context, X and Y were like the first 3D games. It was on the 3DS. That was big. It was the first time we really had more like integrated, I guess, like online features and stuff like that. And the community was just really excited. It was the first like worldwide launch all in the same day. So like, I feel like that time period of X and Y was really special because it just felt like, I was obviously like deeply engrossed in like the community at that time, but it's just like the whole community, it was just so, like so much energy and like an excitement. And it was just such a fun time. And I would love to go back and re-experience that, because also, too, just for me personally, during that time period was when I kind of started to dabble in, like, content creation. And then once, like, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire came out, that's when I was really into it. So it'd be really cool to re-experience that, but also just kind of rolling back to oh my gosh, my couch people are calling me. No, they're not. That's California. Sorry, I'm supposed to get a couch today. So what was I saying? But also something that's like special to me with Pokemon, like, and experiencing it, and something we've touched on before is, all of our lives would probably be very different if we didn't have Pokemon. So I'm very thankful for it. And, me and all of us being such huge fans of it, I think we can all attest that, like, it's something really important to us. It's something that's, like, changed us for the better. Like, I wouldn't be friends with probably some of the people here if I didn't, if I wasn't into Pokemon. So, like, kind of wild in that sense. But, yeah, so that's my spiel. I would love to go back to X and Y, but also to Pokemon in general. Like, if I wasn't into it so much, it would be different. So it's crazy.
Heck yeah. Mystic?
Okay, so this is going to sound a little interesting. So what I want to do is I want to go back in time, but I want to make it so that Sword and Shield came out at the same exact time as when I initially first got into Pokemon. I want to see what my inner child, what my childhood self would think about these Pokemon games in front of me, like right now. I want to know like what it would be like, because you're a little kid. And, all these brand new kids nowadays, they have no idea, what it was like, to experience Pokemon firsthand. I want to know what it's like to be a kid nowadays and experience Pokemon Sword and Shield for the first time in the eyes of a child, rather than an adult. I want to see, like, because there's something in Pokemon that you feel as a kid that I feel like you really don't feel now as an adult. It's like you feel like this sense of, like brand new journey, you don't know like what you're getting yourself into. I want to experience that with Pokemon Sword and Shield because I feel like Sword and Shield is good, for small kids because, I mean, look at all the DLCs, look at all the wild area stuff that you have. The music in the game is also great. I just want to know how I would interpret it if I were still a child playing Sword and Shield again for the first time. That's how I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to know if I would like it if I were playing it as a kid. and then maybe it would be the same exact way as how I feel about Pokemon.
Yeah, that would definitely
think
be an interesting, sort of.
It would be a very interesting experience. Yeah.
I think there's a way to do this. Okay. First off, go to Hawaii. Okay. Go stand underneath a coconut tree. Wait for the coconuts
Wait,
to
just hit in the
fall
head?
on your head a few times,
Oh my god.
and that might do the trick. You might forget all.
Yeah, just
your
make sure you
Pokemon
have
knowledge.
you get
So it
the
might-
Switch in your pocket.
If you want to provide the $3,000 for the Hawaii trip, sure, why not?
You can email Perry. We'll give you the contact info.
Got
after
it.
this.
All right, got it. I'll hit you up.
You can document it. It'd be great it'd be great content, right?
Yeah.
I completely agree. Yeah, Hawaiian trip. Get some Sun and Moon inspiration.
It might be a little bit different from Jaren's point of view with obviously everything you've worked on, but like, what's the one thing you sort of look back and cherish upon, that you love to look back in?
I mean, for me, it's not going to be a game experience. It's going to be a community experience, and it's going to be the opportunity to, work with Masuda-san directly and really get his feedback on the arrangements we were producing, how we were interpreting his work, and then having the opportunity to bring him along on the tour at certain key events and have him guest conduct the orchestra, which was such a cool thing to do because that was the first time he had ever had a chance to conduct an orchestra. So
Wow.
we're letting he's getting to conduct his music and in front of an 80-piece orchestra, and it doesn't get much better than that.
I'm fanboying right now.
My music nerd is freaking
Fanboying
out.
right now. Yeah, fanboying. Hardcore right now. I'm like, dang, that would have been so cool.
I want to play in that orchestra, okay?
I ain't getting music. I'll just watch in the audience. I'll sing.
It was a lot of fun because the orchestra would get into it too, and we would have flute players that would show up with Pikachu hats, and
just feeding off the energy.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun, and but really getting to work with him, getting to see fans kind of experience this franchise kind of come to life in a way that was the way I like to put it, and it's sort of how I view it with Pokemon and with Zelda, is that the way we present the material is kind of like how it lives inside your imagination, which is always bigger and more vivid
Grandiose.
and grandiose than what it actually is when you go revisit it. And it kind of, the fondness for these things sort of grows as that nostalgia builds up.